This year's rookie quarterback class has been one of the better ones that we've seen in years. And with the success of multiple quarterbacks playing on the highest level, all incredibly well, comes an inherent debate. Who's better? Tua, Justin Herbert, or Joe Burrow? Who's going to reign supreme as the number one quarterback of this draft class? Now, there's arguments for every one. And let's start out with Tua Tagovailoa. Tua is the least proven quarterback of any of the three so far this year. At the time of this taping, he's only played and started in 2 NFL games. He's coming off of a major injury that held him out for a majority of his final season in college. And quite frankly, he just hasn't shown the same raw skills so far in his NFL career as a Joe Burrow or a Justin Herbert. But there are some positives to Tua. First of which, in his second start against Kyler Murray, he went toe-to-toe against one of the best offenses in the NFL and was able to lead his team to a road victory against a team that was in the Arizona Cardinals that was competing for a tie for the top spot in the NFC. That was definitely not a team that just rolled over. And Tua was a big part of the victory. He kept the offense alive. He was scrambling with his legs. He was keeping plays going. Tua Tagovailoa was a big part, if not the main part, to why the Miami Dolphins came out with the victory in Week 9. So, for Tua, compared to Justin Herbert and to Joe Burrow, I think for this season, he has the best chance of leading his team to the playoffs and leading his team to a Super Bowl. But that is just because his team is quite frankly better than both the Bengals and the Chargers are. I think he has the better head coach in Brian Flores. I think he has more stability with a better defense by far than both the Chargers and the Bengals. And if we're looking at recent success and guys that can succeed immediately in their career and maybe reach a few playoffs and be consistent contenders early, then Tua Tagovailoa would be the guy I'd put my money on. Tua also has the intangible skills. He's been compared a lot to a Drew Brees. He has legs, he has mobility, he's an incredibly accurate passer underneath. There's a lot of things moving in the direction of Tua Tagovailoa for him being the best quarterback in this draft class. But there's also cases that you can make for the other two guys. Next, let's start out with Justin Herbert, the quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers, who's been playing incredible football so far this year. Right now, after Week 9, I would say Justin Herbert is the favorite for the Rookie of the Year. And if you would have told me that coming into the season, I would have thought you were ludicrous. But Justin Herbert has shown an ability to let the arm loose, to let the deep ball fly downfield, and he's done an impeccable job at putting his teams in good situations to win games. Every single game that Justin Herbert has started, the Chargers have been in prime position, most of the time just a play away from winning. Really dated all the way back to Week 2, where he got his first impromptu start against the Chiefs. That was a 3-point loss in overtime. They had every chance to win that game. Then against the Panthers, a failed pitch on the final play of the game would have scored a touchdown. It was a big-time lead against the Buccaneers, 3 scores that Tom Brady came back from. Then against the Saints, 1 missed kick forced the game to overtime, and the Saints ended up winning. Against the Jaguars, Justin Herbert finally pulled off his first win. And then against the Broncos, the final play of the game was a touchdown for Denver, putting them ahead. And against the Raiders, it was another final play. A fade to the third-string tight end that was dropped in the end zone off a perfect ball that would have given the Chargers win once again. The Chargers sit at 2-6, but if a ball bounces a different way in every single one of those games, just one time, then the Chargers are sitting at a record of possibly 8-0. That's crazy to think about. Justin Herbert has put them in that situation. Granted, you do have to look at the fact that they are 2-6 and blame that a little bit on Justin Herbert. While he's put himself in positions to win, I'm not exactly sure if he's done enough to put them over the hump. If he had, they would be winning these games. Granted, his kickers missed 2 game-winning kicks already this season, and pretty makeable kicks at that. His head coach is completely incompetent. The play calling is just awful to me. And he is without a few key players defensively. Derwin James out for the entire season. Bosa was out just last game. There are a few excuses that you can make if you're Justin Herbert. But in terms of raw skills, out of any of the rookie quarterbacks, Justin Herbert has the most raw skills that translate the best to the NFL game. I look at him as a hybrid Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes at his upside. He's someone that has a big arm, can stretch the ball deep. He's creative on the offensive end. He can use his legs to get out of situations. Granted, he might not be as elite of a rusher as a Josh Allen is at this point in his career, but he has that type of upside. So Justin Herbert, if you're looking at the highest upside guy based on pure intangibles, I'd say it's Justin Herbert. And that brings us with Joe Burrow. If Tua's the guy that has the best chance at recent success, and Herbert is the guy with the highest upside, then what does that leave Burrow? And I think that leaves Burrow with the guy that I trust the most. Joe Burrow is someone that has been there on the biggest stage. He's proven it before. He led LSU all the way to a national championship. He had one of the best, if not the best, seasons from a quarterback in all of college football history. He had one of the best seasons, if not the best, from a team in all of college football history. And now he's in the NFL, and granted, his team is just sitting right now at 2-5-1. That's not the record that you necessarily want from a team that could have been potentially pushing for a playoff spot. But he's shown a ton of flashes. There's been a lot of times where Joe has put his teams in position to win, has kept his teams close with better teams. He, against the division rival in the Browns, lost by one possession twice. He lost by one possession to the Colts. He tied the Eagles. He lost by a field goal to the Chargers. He beat the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans that right now are sitting at the top of the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans team that right now has an outside chance at possibly getting the bye in the AFC. The upside for Joe Burrow is if his team makes the playoffs right now, there's no one I want in a big game. Not Tua, not Herbert. I want Joe Burrow in that big game right now as we speak. And down the stretch of the season, the Bengals have a decently easy schedule. They play Washington, they play the Giants, they play the Texans, they play the Cowboys. Those are easy, winnable games. So, who would I rather take? Burrow, Herbert, or Tua? That question's up in the air. I think it's a pick 'em at this point. But if I had to put my money on any of those guys, I'd put it on Justin Herbert.